So hi guys, welcome. Every single week we come on the radio on Chicago Flipping and we talk about one thing and one thing only, which is how do you make money with real estate? How do you use real estate in the Chicagoland market and make money? And every week what our goal is to have somebody that is doing real estate that is kind of in different pieces of real estate investing or on the real estate agent side of it. Sometimes we have brokers, all sorts of different things. And today in the studio we have Ryan from the Coya Smith team. If you guys don't know them, they're the biggest REO brokers. So Ryan, welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thank you very much for having me, Andrew.
So Ryan, kind of talk about what is the Coya Smith Group. What do you, because you guys are a niche. You guys are the biggest players in that REO space. So number one, for people who are not familiar with it, what is an REO broker exactly?
All right. First off, our group is Coya. My mother was with Remax, started doing REO properties in 1988, 89. So we've been doing this for a long time. We opened Smith Partners and Associates in 2004. And since then, we've been dealing with REOs is our niche. REOs, for those that don't know, is a real estate owned property. So it's any property that the bank or default company owns, servicers, hedge funds, and they're selling to the public.
Okay. So basically, it's real estate owned, which is banks, hedge funds, different institutions that own properties. So what happens is somebody has a default, can't pay their mortgage, it goes to the auction. At the auction, if people like us bid on it, if we buy it, great, we get it. Otherwise, 95% about properties end up as REOs.
Correct. And
then they basically have a few agents that handle certain territories. Is that kind of how it works, pretty much?
Yeah, exactly. There used to be a small niche of the group, and now the agents have expanded, but it's starting to come back to a smaller group of it, and it's territory based.
Okay.
We have two offices. We have one in Downers Grove, which handles the western suburbs, DuPage, Will counties. Then we have one office on 3524 West Irving, which handles Chicago proper and the northern suburbs as well.
Okay. Because you guys are in a for your regular investor, right? For your regular person that says, "Oh my God, I want to buy a foreclosure," right? They think a pre-foreclosure is the same as the auction as a foreclosure. It all kind of gets jumbled in their mind, right? But so let's talk a little numbers first,
okay.
Right? What kind of volume are we talking? You guys have been doing, let's say, since 2008, because you guys do big numbers, right? What is kind of the numbers you guys are doing?
Currently, right now, we're carrying about 55, 60 active listings on the MLS. Active listings. We're closing about 25 to 30 a month. It's we were in 2008. Then we were doing 50 to 60 closings a month. But the market's changed,
sure,
and we've adapted with that. So we have a lot of volume. We handle the whole Chicagoland area. We see a lot of inventory. We're on track to do about 300 transactions this year.
And this is exclusive, pretty much all
95% REO driven.
REO, okay.
Yeah, we're growing the residential side, but
sure,
mainly REO.
So how does somebody, obviously the best way for somebody to come and work with you guys is call the show, right? And or come to the 3-day, right?
Yes.
As we do it. But typically, what type of clients do you work with? Do you just work with investors? Do you work with first-time home buyers? Do you work with move-up buyers? Who do you guys work with?
We work with everybody. Coya handles a lot of the residential first-time home buyers, move-up buyers, and I focus more on the servicer side and represent the clients and the servicers. But investors buy a lot of our properties. We're starting to repair a lot more of our properties.
Okay.
Where homeowners are buying some of them, but our investors, a lot of these homeowners can't buy. They need to be cash, they need to be 203K, and homeowners can't buy those. So investors is a major player in our game.
So let me ask you this, because we've always said Frank was kind enough, Frank Montreux, King of Southside, right? He was nice enough to invite all of us out for a cigar and a drink, and we kind of got to know each other. We'd bought a lot of properties from you guys.
Yeah.
And what I've always said is that if you're going to do business with somebody in an industry, why not just go to the best, right? Find who the best people are and go support their business, try to buy properties from them, and they're going to support you back because this is about relationships. Really, that's what the whole thing is about, right?
Yes.
So, what are the unique advantages rather than, and there are a lot of hardworking agents, right? At one time, I used to sell real estate, so I understand how that works. But listen, as an investor, as it's somebody who's looking to find great deals, there is unique advantages to going directly to people who are dealing with this every single day, right? So, how do people work with you when they come to you? Do they have to have all their ducks in a row? How do they come and work with you guys?
Well, if you do want to come to us, there's a lot of people that the serious and not serious investors, I should say. If you come to us and you're trying to do an assignee or you want to tie a property up, don't waste your time. We're not going to do it. We need to see proof of funds, LLC docs, and show that you want to have some skin in the game and be serious about it. Some advantages of working with us is, we send out a list regularly of upcoming properties, what's coming up.
Sure.
A lot of times when these properties hit the market, there's a 3-day turnaround time because we have multiple offers, and you have to act fast.
Right.
So, if you're working with us, you have the heads up, you've seen the property, you're aware of it.
You've done the homework.
You've done
right?
the homework, yeah.
Absolutely.
And we need you like that.
And that's what the other day somebody was like, well, Andrew, it's going to come on MLS. I'm like, it definitely is, obviously, right?
Yes.
Everybody will have a chance. The thing is this, if I have 10 days to make up my mind, get everything, all my ducks in a row, I know exactly what I'm going to pay, right? And I might be able to, because I've had more time to do my homework, I'll be ready. Whereas somebody who sees it and you go, well, 72 hours, the bank is saying highest and best, guess what's going to happen? They're going to get caught behind, and in today's market, right? Person who's the most prepared, that has all their ducks in a row, is going to end up with deals. Would that be correct?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, especially in today's market, we're seeing so many highest and best, multiple offers. If you call me and say, "Oh, Ryan, I like the property. I'll let you know Thursday," it's going on Wednesday. You have to act fast.
Right.
And another big conception is that one thing, they say, "Oh, well, we'll work with this agent. You could tell us the number." We don't do any of that.
Right.
We're just as honest as you guys, and that's how we maintain the
No, I mean,
relationship.
you guys have a license, right?
Right.
You guys have a real estate license.
Right.
You guys you're doing millions of dollars worth of business with people, right? What are you going to do? Ruin
Right.
that over some silly person who wants to do things that way? It just doesn't. Professionals don't run their businesses
Right.
that way, right? And a lot of times, what people think is, well, I want to get the inside secret. Guys, the inside secret is this: work with people that we bring on. Work with people who are doing a lot of business, because guess what's going to happen? They know other people who are doing a lot of business, and you end up, and a lot of times things will happen. We were talking about this, right? You'll have a property go under contract. Something happens with the buyer. Now the asset manager is going to jump on your back. Hey, I need to get this asset moved. Guess what you're going to do? You're going to look for the person who has the highest chances of closing. Correct?
Correct. I mean, I think that just happened yesterday. I think I called
Right.
you on 2 properties and
Right.
say, hey, we got to move these. A lot of times the property will go under contract, and it'll fall apart on June 20th.
Right.
Well, we still got to get that sale in for the month.
Right.
Another thing with investors is if you're under contract with an REO, you got to close on time.
Right.
That it not only makes you look bad, it makes me look bad,
Sure.
and ruin. So we stick to the time frames.
Right.
And
So, how does it work typically for, just kind of briefly, right? Because a lot of times people think, it's this big bad bank, they don't want to just sell the property. Don't they know how bad the property is, right? And I've said many, many times, guys, banks are not stupid.
Right.
The problem is they're not here in the Chicagoland area. There's somewhere, there's an asset manager that has to send an appraiser out, or that has to send an agent out, get an estimate of value, and then based on that, they have a formula. They don't just operate in thin air, and they are not stupid, right? There's a kind of method to that madness. So how does that work? Just really briefly.
It's a great point, Andrew. A lot of times we get investors call and say, "Oh, I know the note on the property's $50,000. I'll pay $75,000 for it." It doesn't work like that.
Right.
The banks are selling them at fair market value.
Right.
So what we do is we'll do a BPO, which is an appraisal. We've been doing this a long time, so we recognize everything that's wrong with the property. We know your guys' aspect on the cost to repair the property,
Right.
and we convey all that to our client. And they also send an appraiser out. So you have our value and an appraiser's value, and they take those and they average it, and that's how they come up with a list price.
Right.
It's going to be a fair market value for the condition of the property. Take out what was owed on the property. That doesn't matter. None of that plays into relevance, because a lot of times they're losing money on these properties too. So if they want to,
No, because I think a lot of times, there's this general impression that people have, well, don't they understand? It's not quite that simplistic, right? There's a lot of other factors. They've already foreclosed on the property at this point. So if they owed 20,000, if they owed 100,000, it's immaterial. Makes no difference. So, think about it this way is if you had a asset that you got back and you don't want it, what are you going to do? You're just basically going to say, well, no, it's worth 160, but I'm going to give it away for 80. Come on. Yeah. That doesn't make sense.
It doesn't make sense.
And I think a lot of times people have this misconception that the bank is just this big bad bank. That's not the case. There's somebody who is assigned to get rid of this asset, but it's their job to maximize value because the bank is taking a loss. And I think that is important to understand. And a lot of times people think, well, the market is really hot. So hence, I can't get good deals. That could not be more wrong. So how do those good deals happen? Can you kind of just explain that as to how things fall through the cracks and you can end up with the amount of transactions you can do? You can end up with some great deals.
There's a lot of great deals out there. There's things that people are afraid of to do. Like, for example, I called Andrew on a property yesterday. The bank had it listed at 179.9. They put 25,000 into repairs on the property.
Right.
We're talking about new kitchen, new bath, everything. We had some water issues. The bank said, I don't want to put that money in it. I'm going to drop the price. I called you right away. I said, hey, this is where we're at now.
Right.
Deals like that come along.
Right. So, it's a property that the bank said, okay, we'll improve it. We'll try to sell it, right? It's up in Mundelein.
Yeah.
So for any of our listeners, you want this property, this is a hot property, right? There's another one yesterday you called about that's in Oak Park, right? And so, the point is this, that guess what? You are under pressure to perform from your client. Your client, whoever the asset manager is, their boss is on their case that, hey, how many assets did you move in the Chicagoland area, right? Because, there's a performance attached to every single thing. This is business, correct? So let me ask you this. What do you see going into the next year? Mm-hmm. So 2018, 2019, where do you think the market is going? What do you think you see happening from your perspective? Because you have a little bit of a forward-looking binoculars than most people.
Yeah, I think in regards to defaults and REOs, we had a huge rush from 08 through 2014.
Sure.
It was a massive influx. Then it slowed down a little bit. We were slow. The deals were harder to come by, but we're seeing a lot more come out of the pipeline now. There's a lot of shadow inventory that's coming down the pipeline. A lot of the arms are adjusting now on the higher end luxury stuff. There's going to be a lot of higher end values. So a lot of the Inglewood and lower end values for the investors out there, the stuff that was going 5,000, 10,000.
That got cleaned up.
A lot of that's cleaned up. But now we're seeing a lot of Glendale Heights, Bloomingdale, Schaumburgs, a lot of suburban stuff, which are nice homes.
Right.
And they may take a little more, but more risk, more reward, right?
Right. It's interesting because just yesterday you sent us 2 properties. Big properties that are coming up, right, in the suburbs. Just massive properties that will be coming online, and we were laughing about it because it's the same subdivision, right? So, so you see a lot of opportunity still.
A lot, yeah. I see a lot of opportunities now, and I see a lot coming down the pipeline. If we look at the market, we look what we're doing. When the market crashed in 2008, you looked at new construction was at all-time high. Interest rates were low. Credit scores, they were giving loans away.
Didn't matter, right?
Well, they tightened up on that. I read an article today. Fannie Mae's now increasing their debt to income ratio to 50%. New construction is on the rise again. Some people are doing 0% down again.
Correct.
We're seeing all the same things that we were seeing back then loosen up. And now we look on the north side of Chicago. I know you and Frank were talking about this last week. The taxes up there are rising. Values are rising too much. So we're on the verge of another bubble in certain markets. So there's always going to be the deal out there for the investor. Don't believe this, foreclosure, REO's dying. That's not the case.
Right.
It's just getting more controlled and better people are doing it. Right. But the deals are still there and the opportunities are still there.
It's interesting because when the market is going down, somebody's making money.
Right.
When the market is going up, somebody's making money. The market basically peaks, somebody's making money, and the same person is making money again when it goes down again. This is cyclical, right? It's cyclical, and deals are going to happen. And the question is, do you have the right connections? That's kind of what the show is all about.
Chicago Flipping with Andrew Holmes will return next Sunday at 12 noon. For information or questions about content of this show or to speak to Andrew, call 844-MONEY-55 or visit ChicagoCashflow.com to learn about upcoming seminars. That's 844-666-3955. And be sure to tune in next week.